All right, guys, so we are back with part 2 of candle making made easy is what I'm gonna call this. Okay, if you want to make candles, you want to sell candles, if you want to make candles just for your home, of course it can be a little bit expensive if you just making them for your home, but once you buy the supplies, you can make candles for months. Okay, you can reuse your vessels. It's a difference for you because if you're not selling them, then once you buy these products, you can clean them out and reuse them, and we'll eventually do a video showing how I actually clean out my vessels. But for now, we're going to get into what we need to actually melt the wax and all this other stuff. Now, before we get into that, we left off when I talked about my fragrances. I absolutely love Candle Science. They are right here in Durham, North Carolina. They ship out pretty fast. They don't just sell fragrances. They sell wax, they sell wicks, they sell wax melters. They sell everything you need, soap products, butter product. They sell, as in like skin care products. They sell everything you need. Makesy is the same way. But I ended up loving their fragrance. I've tried Makesy's fragrances. I don't really care for them. I've tried, again, this company, Sierra Candle and Soap Making Supplies. I like their scents. They were a lot more affordable, but I ended up falling in love with Candle Science because they have clean scents. So all of my candles have been moved to clean scents. I've had this for a minute and I refuse to use it because all of my candles have clean scents. Okay, you're gonna need a pot. This is for the double boiler method. So I have like a, what is it, a deep fry is what it really looks like. I bought it on Amazon. You see that right there, that little thing there. Y'all, I got a mess going on, but we making candles. Okay, that is what I use to do my double boiler. You can do it on your stove, whatever you choose, but I have this and I actually like using it. You're also going to need a thermometer. You need to find you a thermometer that is used for wax, not no food thermometer. Okay, this right here, and just a regular little stirrer because you're gonna have to stir your wax, and the wax will melt through certain types of not the wax, the fragrance oil, no matter what brand, will melt through certain types of material. So I use this little handy dandy thing right here. Okay, so we're going to use 1,567 grams of wax, and I cut them in smaller cubes. Okay, so we're going to turn this on. And again, I measure in grams. So this is 1,567 grams of wax. You see that wax right there? We're going to drop that on there. We'll break it down later. We at 600 and some. Let's see, keep going. We at 701. It's time to order new wax because guess what? We are down to our last brick, y'all. We down to our last little brick of wax. So we're going to break this one down. So we're going to pause here. All right, so you see this mountain of wax? That is 1,567 grams of wax. So we're going to drop it in here. I like to break the big pieces down into smaller pieces. Once I get it measured out, I just break it down in the wax container, in the wax box. So we're going to get these put in there. Be right back. All right, guys, wax is messy. So you can see we got this big mountain of wax, but it's going to all melt down. And then once it melts down, we are going to add our thermometer in. So we put the wax in there, and according to my wax, everything you do is based off of where you decide to purchase your products from. So when you have to know when to add your fragrance. So we add our fragrance when the wax reaches a temperature of 160 degrees, because you're going to drop it back down to 150. So you're going to drop it back down to 150 once you add the fragrances. So I'm just gonna stick this in there, and eventually it'll drop down. I mean, the wax will melt, and y'all know what the hell I'm trying to say. All right, so we have our wax melting. That's gonna take a little bit of time. And while we wait on our wax to melt, we are going to go ahead and start, we're gonna measure out our fragrance oil, okay? So now, this is when your other life is gonna come in to play, okay? So when you put this on here, it's gonna automatically measure. This is 25 grams, right? We measure all in grams. So we're gonna tear that to get it down to 0. You gotta make sure that your what am I trying to call this thing? This, I can't get it together. You gotta make sure that it is level, okay? And you wanna tear it until you get it to 0. So we need 140 grams of fragrance. Now, the 140 grams is based off of the scent throw that you want. I don't like a heavy scent throw. I like a strong one, but I don't want it where it's so strong that you are getting a headache. So I do about 8%. I don't do over 9%. That is, again, once you seek out where you're going to purchase your products from, this information is housed on these people's website. This is what a lot of these makers don't want to tell us, and that is what I had to deal with and find. And I get it. Why? Because they make money selling candles, right? But a lot of people don't use the best products. That's the reality of it. If you're a person that you care about the products that you bring into your home, this is why my candles cost more, okay? So we got 147, did we say 147? Nope, 140 grams of fragrance, right? That's what we are. All right, guys, we are back, and our wax has literally melted, minus this one little stupid piece that's acting crazy. And the wax got at 165. We don't want to add the fragrance at 165. And this is based off of my wax. Your wax may be different, but if you purchase your wax from Makesy, you get the hemp, cocoa, soy wax. This is what you're gonna, this is how you have to do it. You have to get it to, you add your fragrance at 150. So what I do is I get it to 160, and once I pour the fragrance in, I stir it for 2 minutes. By that time, it's down to 150. That's the good pouring temperature. That's the good mixing temperature. And that's just how I do it. So now we are letting it cool back down because it did go a little bit over the 160, and that's okay because you haven't added the fragrance. Sometimes what I'll do is, because my sink is cold, I'll sit the container in my sink and it'll help it cool down. I'm kind of cheating the system. You probably don't want to do that, but so it's at like 163, we're gonna say. Okay, so we're just gonna wait, and we'll be back once it gets to 160. All right, guys, we back. The wax is at 160 degrees. You probably can't see it, but it's at 160 degrees. What they say, pause to read. All right, so we're gonna add our fragrance in. Alexa, set a timer for 2 minutes.
Good morning, Crystal. 2 minutes, starting now.
All right, so now we gotta stir for 2 minutes. So it actually works, okay? And we're gonna pause. So now we have filled our candles. If you look right here, you can see it. All of the candles are filled to the capacity that I choose to fill my candles to. And we are good. The candles will solidify. It takes them a couple of, maybe about an hour to completely be as solid as we need them to be. And then we're good to go. We off to the races. And we'll show you how we clean our tops in a later video. Because you're absolutely going to need a heat gun so you can make sure that the tops are smooth. But guys, we just made 5 candles in an hour.